Hello, I am Mike of the Enough Dice. This is the Kerbal Space Program. I'm a little aggrieved. This is my Gilly radar sat. Basically what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to fulfill the optional elements of an Eve scanning contract, right? Which doesn't seem to have worked, but I'm not entirely sure why. Right, so I've been scanning away, so I can draw the scan overlay. So this is the scan I've done thus far. I've got into not quite the orbit that they want, because they seem to want this. The sensible orbit you do is a polar orbit, but they want an orbit which is actually inclined by about 72 degrees, which is actually less than ideal. It's not really what you want. So I thought that might be fixed. I thought this orbit might be a suggested orbit, not we want you in this particular orbit. But I've gotten the low resolution altimetry scan. So I got the 25%. I've actually gone up to 49%, so I'm nearly halfway through the full scan. I've ticked everything else except the inclination, and that orbit's not, that orbit there has not been achieved, which is slightly aggravating, because it does potentially mean that when I want to do the same thing to Eve, I'm also going to have to put the ship into a slightly silly orbit in order to get the full get the contract. I'm also wondering about this vessel Hertz 1 thing. Like, do I need to rename it? Do I need to rename this vessel? I might not be able to rename it because I'm warping, because otherwise it'll take so long. So what I'm going to do is I'm definitely going to warp. I mean, I'm warping as much as I can at the minute. But what I'm going to do is wait until I get the whole thing mapped. Because I mean, at least I'll then have a full map of Gilly, which is a good thing. And I'll fulfill. I have fulfilled the low resolution altimetry scan of Gilly. I've got that, so that's all good. I can bring up my big map, and you can hit refresh. And so this should work out reasonably well. So I will have that, because that's the thing I want anyway. I want that in the end, even if I don't end up getting this particular contract. Although I should. I mean, come on, it is just being silly in my opinion. So this one, where are we going? We're going that way. No, we're going that way. We've come over here and come down there, and then we're going to pick up. I deal with a slightly different orbit, I think. I'm going to be crossing over more than I really need to. These tick marks here are, I'm not quite sure whether, there's a thing about, you can use these tick marks. This is when the satellite is going to be crossing the equator, and you can use those to kind of get a better idea of how efficient your orbit is going to be. I think it's more important for things like the high scan one, where because this cut such a big swathe that you know, I don't think it's going to be that much of a problem. May take slightly longer than I'd like to get absolutely every single centimetre of Gilly scanned, but I don't think it's going to be a huge problem. Like, yeah, you can see how those that cross there, they cross quite close together. So I'm just going to be re-scanning stuff I've already scanned. It would be quite nice to have a slightly different. If the crossing would be much better if that crossing came through there, and that might be what that inclination was, because this is such a wide. This has got such a wide field of view. Then maybe that. What seems to be a bit of a silly inclination, maybe that would in fact have been entirely sensible, because that will still catch the poles. Yeah, you can see how wide it is there, so it could well have maybe worked fine just with that inclination. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to try something. I'm going to unzoom. I'm going to unfast forward, and I'm going to see if naming it. I'm going to bring that down so I can see what the name is. Hertz 1. Now, is that Hertz I? See if that helps anything. No. So I'm wondering whether that's taking this whole orbit thing as a subtask, and once I get that subtask done, that's when it gets ticked. Right. Well, I'm not gonna. I don't want to fiddle around with changing the inclination until I've got a full scan. Because once I've got the full scan, I don't care what this thing does. It doesn't have any other instruments on it, so that's all fine and dandy. I don't think it's. I'm doing a probe report. I'm going to see if. Oh, that's a good point actually. How much power have I got? I've got lots of power. Probe reports. Cancel. I want to review telemetry. Is that what I want? Yeah, probe reports. I want to send that. Get my 6 science. Still count. I was basically wanting to see, do I count as in space high or in space low now? Okay. Can analyze the data anytime I want. Yeah, so I can pretty much leave that to go, and that's all fine now. But it's a bit aggravating that I didn't realise it was going to be quite so pernickety about my orbit. So at some point I'm going to have to give myself the right inclination and see if that will give me whether that will it'll then say, yeah, absolutely, you've now got that contract. Because otherwise it's going to be a pain in the proverbial. Right, let's go focus on Eve. Hello, Eve. What I might do actually, where's me rover? Where is my rover? Should be down here somewhere. I think that might be it. It's probably. I think it's still called Eve Lander Probe, or it should be Eve Lander. So I don't think I renamed it properly. There we go. Oh, that was a big noise. So I can do a probe report, and I get 8 science for doing that. So might as well send that off. And immediately regret it because I don't have much in the way of electric charge. Oh, I didn't need much, so that's alright. I wonder if the enormous atmosphere of Eve is causing problems in terms of getting sunlight. I'm going to see, can I? Ah, that's a problem. The wings came off. I do have some solar power, but not very much because I get a tiny amount from this thing, but I've powered it off. I think. Yeah, I've powered it off slightly, but if I power it off, I don't get the. Oh well, never mind. The atmosphere being so strong meant that even going a tiny way with those solar panels broke them off. That is a thing to think about for next time. And that means that this little rover is now inoperable. I did not expect that to happen at all. Wow. Oh well, never mind, eh? We will, if I can remember whether which bit's the core. Can I send the science? Probably can't even send the science. No, I don't think I can. I was going to. Oh, I didn't mean to reset. Well. Keep it. I can't even send the science I've got, so this is completely pointless. We'll rename the vessel anyway. Eve rover. We'll set it to be a rover. And unfortunately, it doesn't have any solar panels. So next time, if I send something up, it is going to have to be, I'm going to have to be very, very cautious. Basically, I could have done with an RTG or the whatever the nuke's called, because it looks like solar panels don't give enough sunlight. Energy flow 0.04. So I might be getting some electricity. Yeah, no, I'm actually losing electricity. Gradually. I don't know what's taking up power, but something is. Probably this. So there is a solar panel on that the KOS unit there, but it is not enough to offset the fact that there is in fact no other solar panels. Oh, that's very aggravating. I did not know those solar panels could come off at that speed. And that's a thing I'm going to have to remember. You can do it on Kerbal as well. If you go very, very, very fast, you'll eventually take them off. But you notice I wasn't going very fast at all when that happened. That's kind of annoying. So there you go. That's a couple of slightly aggravating things going on here. Ooh, that's interesting. Okay, that was a broken overlay. I don't have any overlays for. I have a tiny overlay because I did a very small amount of scanning for ore. As I was checking to see whether or not, same here. I did a very small amount to check whether or not I was in the right area. So I'll have a small terrain map there as well. Might have a high res one. Yeah, so this is another orbit that I'm going to have to go into to try and yeah, I have no idea you could do that. Yeah, close down. Well, it's complaining because I don't have the right. I'm not looking at the correct orbit, the correct probe here. So I may have to get. It looks like I'm going to have to get into that specific orbit to get this contract, and it's slightly long. I'm going to have to do that for Eve. Where's Eve gone? Well, not Eve, for Gilly. So it's slightly aggravating. So there you go, eh? Going to switch to that. I'm going to see how it's been getting on. There you go, 69, nearly 70% done. Well, there you go. So I've not really managed to achieve much today, except break my Eve rover. But ooh, that's the overlay gone wonky again. So I need to go and there we go. That fixes that. So there you go. We're gradually forming a map of Gilly. Once I've finished forming that map of Gilly, I'm going to see if I can't get into the correct orbit and see whether that gives me that optional part of the contract. But until that happens, thanks so much for watching. Please hit like and subscribe if you enjoyed these videos. Do come visit Neil F. Dice at neilfdice.com, and until next time, reach for the stars.